My first thought when picking this hoof up was that I was dealing with some necrosis, but I was wrong. Welcome back to Nate the Hoof Guy. So what led me to believe that this was going to be necrosis? It's the shallow heel and the thicker toe that made me believe that. When we have necrosis, what happens is, because there's a problem in that toe area, she puts more pressure on her heels, less on her toes. That's why we see that thickening. However, once I start to trim this, I can see that that is not what's going on. So if not necrosis, what is it? I'll give you a hint. We worked on one of these not long ago. Got any ideas? This area here is the dead giveaway. That's right. Once again, we are dealing with an axial fissure. So what exactly does axial fissure even mean? Well, simply put, it's just a crack on the inside wall of that hoof. Axial is the inner part, fissure is a crack. Simply put, that's all it is. There's a crack that works up that inside wall, and ultimately underneath that, it will separate between that wall horn and that solar horn, and that's where you're going to have a problem. So what we got to do here is pare those two areas away until we can get it nice and smooth on the inside. That way, we're not going to have any more extension of that crack up that wall, and that sole and wall can form nicely together once again. Now, in that previous video, I talked about how rare this lesion actually is. I only see a handful of these in a year, so of course I'm going to find a second one within 2 weeks. And as would have it, this is actually even more rare yet, being that it's on the medial claw. Typically when we find these, we're going to find them on the lateral, and that tends to be because the lateral is going to get more force put on it. More pressures, more stress, higher likelihood of that axial wall getting a crack in it. Now, even though it's on the opposing claw from where we normally see it, the treatment's going to be the same here. We need to remove all of this loose horn, and we need to work this fissure or this crack all the way up to the top until it terminates. If it doesn't, all we're doing is allowing that crack to further expand up that wall. We don't want that to happen. If it does, it's going to eventually work its way all the way to the hairline, and this is going to become a recurring problem. What we want to do, as you can see here, it's starting to work its way out, and that's perfect. That way I can get that loose horn removed all the way down to that base layer on the inside, and I can work it all the way down toward that sole and make a nice smooth transition in there. Here you can see how it has terminated out the top, but I still got some loose horn to remove here. We're going to get this all smoothed out nicely, and you'll be able to tell then that this is all one uniform layer and that it can heal together like it's supposed to be. If we don't have that crack removed all the way and it continues to expand, it's going to keep that area at the sole open as well. So there's no chance of healing. We got to get that crack to terminate, and then we can get those two types of horn, that solar horn and that wall horn, to become fused again. The way we do that is with a block to take all the pressure off of that medial claw. If we can do that, and we can get that all cleaned out, then that junction or that bond can form nicely and become structurally sound again. Like I said, if we don't do that, if we don't get this all the way out, it's going to continue to expand, and it's not going to heal the way we want it to. Now that we've got that smoothed out nicely, we can use an antiseptic, in this case chlorhexidine, to clean this area out really well. Then we use the salicylic acid wrap as another means of attack for any bacteria that might be there that might keep this open. Digital dermatitis is notorious for doing just that, but with that in place, we shouldn't have to worry about that. Now she's done, we can let her out and see how she walks on this block. And that is where I leave you today. Thanks for watching.